All right, this is Blake Carter, and this is Trey Villy doing my interview assignment for ENT 3003. Mr. Carter started on business. Blake, if you could just tell us a little bit about maybe like where you're at in school right now, when you started your business, and kind of where you're at right now, and a little background.
All right, so I started this business about 2.5 years ago. Will be 3 in January. So when I started, I was a sophomore in high school or college, excuse me. And I was just finishing up my first semester as a sophomore, going into my second semester when we had the idea. Worked on it all November and December and launched in January 2014. 2.5 years later, a little bit over that, here we are today. I'm graduated now. I just graduated this past spring, so this was my first summer as a graduated adult, you could say.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I wouldn't say adulthood just started for me. So I learned a lot through the business in the past 2.5 years. We started with one night, which we grew from it was a one-night event. We went from 600 people to now we're an average of 2,000 to 2,500 weekly.
Absolutely.
And then we opened up Clyde's on Monday, or took that over actually.
Well, what is the business, to be exact?
Okay, it's a marketing, promotion, event planning company.
Okay.
And it started more on the promotion base, and then we've grown into event planning, which is our biggest part of our business, but then we also do marketing on the side for other businesses.
Absolutely.
That intertwine with our industry or can have a benefit from our clientele.
Cool.
So,
All good.
like I was saying, like one night, then we took over started two nights a week. Then we started 3 and started doing concerts as well. Now we're actually doing 3 nights a week. We are doing consistent concerts that we're going, instead of just adding on as a promotion company to the concert that's already happening, we book the talent, we book the venue, we do the marketing, we do the ticketing, we do the security, the production, everything.
Absolutely.
Everything that has to do with the concert from the beginning to the end, it's on us. And we're currently it's an exciting time for us. We are expanding to Gainesville as well, so we're taking our model and we're over there building a team.
Oh, absolutely.
As
That's
we
cool.
speak.
Yeah.
And we're launching that in August.
Wow.
So we're going to be launching our year again here in August. We'll be launching in Gainesville. And then in addition to that, we're working on a music festival that will be our music festival.
Wow.
Absolutely. And it's more of a boutique thing.
Yeah.
About 5,000 people.
Wow. Very cool, Blake. So you said you and a couple other guys came up with some sort of idea. What about that idea, actually allowed you guys to, attack it and think you actually have the opportunity? You have any startup incentives, anything that really gave you the motivation that, this was going to work out the way it did?
Well, no, there's no guarantee that it was going to work out how it did. There wasn't really stone vision of what we wanted it to be. I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. Since the day I was born, my parents knew that the simple life just wasn't for me. So I always wanted to be ahead. It didn't matter in what. I graduated high school early. I went to pre-K. Actually, I wanted to go there early.
Okay.
Because my brother is a year and a half older than I am. So whatever he did, I wanted to. If he was able to go to school, I wanted to be able to go to school, even though I wasn't old enough. And so I guess that's where it started. I ended up going to high school. Going through elementary, middle, got to high school. I was completely over school by then. Yeah. I graduated early, went to college, and then came to college and
started doing this. That's really cool.
Started.
What about any sort of like startup capital? Where'd all that come from? Did you have some money saved up, or was there not much of capital maybe needed to start up?
There wasn't much capital, and that was one thing that always motivated me. I don't come from a ton of money, and my dad was a great man, hardworking, but he didn't want or have the motivation to do his own business or to really excel in the business world. So there wasn't really much of that in my family where, he supports me in everything I
Yeah,
do, but
you weren't given some lump sum of money to go say, go ahead and do this. Yeah, you had to kind of figure it out.
So I saved all my money since I was young, like birthdays, Christmas, anything else I could possibly get money from, work, side jobs. I would save it. And when I got to college, I remember our first concert we ever did. We were just tacked on as a promotion, and I wanted a bigger piece of the pie, so we decided to invest, thinking that we were going to make a ton of money. And I think I had a little bit over $2,000 to my name. And we went to the bank with the head promoter who was in charge of the show.
Yeah.
And he actually brought me to the bank to give him all my money, and I emptied my bank account to $0.
Wow.
And that day I went broke. And we were about, the day of, we were about to lose a lot of money, or whatever, my whole earnings. So we just started flipping tickets.
Okay.
And we changed the entire concert idea into more of a fraternity sorority thing. And that's where the Rush Crush came to be.
Wow, is that the whole Battle of the Greeks idea? Is that like the similar thing? That's cool.
That's the first. We were the first ones.
I had no idea about that.
And we sold 500 tickets in one day.
Yeah.
I ended up making like a couple $100.
Yeah.
On top of my money. So I got my investment back and made $200, and that was...
Yeah, I know, that's the incentive to keep going.
No, thank God. Because
you needed something, But so what about with, any sort of like with licensing and things that you do with that with your business? Just, basically not going too in depth about it, but is there any sort of, legal consequences that are over your shoulders? I know it's like promoting, like maybe drinking at the bars and stuff. Is that an issue with you, or is that, solely with the bar? Or just situations like that.
Well, in reality, when something happens or something goes wrong and someone sues, they try to sue everybody. They throw a cast net and hope to catch something.
Absolutely.
So there's always that chance, but that's in anything. So we do we're a limited liability company.
Okay.
So if the company if something went wrong and the company got sued, they'd go after the company, not the owners personally.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But we also diminish our risk tremendously and our liability tremendously because we don't have our hands in the alcohol.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we are more based off ticket sales and commissions on certain other things, but we don't ever sell the alcohol. Absolutely. I don't own the alcohol, I don't sell it. Yeah. So that is all on the menu.
That's good. That's off you. And then one of the other things about, businesses nowadays is how technology can really, have a positive effect on you. I can almost answer this question for you, just being a college kid. In this town is, you run everything through technology. I mean, that's the way people know what Top Tier is. Solely through technology, through your promotions and that. And then personnel and human resources. You're always hiring new people. How's that? What's that like? Going through hiring bartenders or, banders, whatever that situation is.
Well, it's funny you asked that because I had this conversation with the head of an app or an application the other day on a phone call, on a phone meeting. She just wanted to ask me who we were, and I explained to her, and after I explained it to her, she's like, "You're the Illuminati of FSU, basically." And
that's interesting.
In a sense, I like to call it more of a super fraternity, just because we started with, the tops of the fraternity, and everybody that is part of us is either a influential member of whatever organization they're part of, or the head of an...
Yeah, I mean, you're getting the best of the best to do your job.
Right, and then it's become a family, so they help us find the next best one. And
it's become extremely sought out, too, obviously. Right. I mean, having a role in Top Tier is now not just a job, it's popularity, it's good money, cool. It's good, people really enjoy doing that. So, just to kind of wrap it up here, I really appreciate all this, sitting down with me and stuff. Is there anything you have maybe for, young entrepreneur who wants to, go out there and attack an idea that, similar to your story, maybe doesn't have the startup costs or, doesn't have the full idea, but, has something in his head and wants to go after it? Do you recommend doing that, or is the world too hard nowadays?
No, the world is only growing, and there's opportunities that are opening up every day. A lot of people like to think that if I could just go back to the Wild West or I go back to 1950, there'd be a ton of opportunities. But the same type of people are going to be saying that in 50 years. Wow, I wish I could go back to the turn of the century. I wish I could go back to 2016. And if I would have just done that then, I'd be a millionaire or a billionaire now. And that's not the case, because the case is that you have to do it now. Absolutely. So if you have something you want to go after, go ahead and do it.
Absolutely.
Don't worry about the money. Don't worry about the time. Don't worry about the energy. I mean, you have it.
Yeah.
Just, you gotta want it.
Yeah.
You gotta, and it's exciting. It's fun.
It's so much reward. I assume there's so much reward with being able to, what you've done, start from, that first Rush Crush to, where you are now. So.
Yeah, it's a wild story, and it's nowhere near. I'm just
starting.
the surface.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Scratching the surface.
Well, I appreciate it, Blake.
Of course.